All right, greetings everybody from a swelteringly hot summer here in Japan. We are here today to bring you the news and cat hair. It's amazing. Cat hair actually a thing that I have learned ever since getting a new cat is that long-haired cats, their fur gets everywhere. Regardless, you can be minding your own business all of a sudden. Oh, where did this come from? Anyway, today we're here to talk about JP News. Now, not all of the JP News has come up yet. The update is happening tomorrow for JP, but this is essentially enough for now. I think this is the key news that people are going to be looking forward to, so let's get into it. First off, Arena, and as you've seen, the weapon and undoubtedly the title card basically told you what to expect, but we'll get into more details. This new Arena map is the beach map. We're getting closer, theoretically, towards what should be happening relatively soon. But yeah, the thunder element here with Spear, that is to tell you guys exactly what kind of unit to expect. Now, really quick, also for people who are wondering about scheduling, I revisited last year, kind of hoping that summer units would just come and go, and that would probably leave August a little bit more open for collaboration, since kind of they indicated that they were looking to do more collaborations. Doesn't seem to be the case right now. So, yeah. The 31st, I mean, I would expect next week to be a new vision card, and the August 1st update to probably more than likely be another story-based character. And then shortly after, we'll probably see the beach unit. So it's looking like will be a August launch for any summoner-based characters. Now, delay this enough, 2 minutes in. Ramada. Ramada is our new character for the mid-month. She is a 100 cost Thunder Elemental permanent unit. So for those of you who are, a little anxious, good news. I mean, you don't have to get her right now. Eventually get her later, but this is her new story-based design. She is a new story character. And I'm not surprised that this character of all characters is a 100 cost. Was basically kind of expecting that we are just in the realm of permanent 100 cost units. Also, because she's permanent, I think it's very easy to expect the similar type 100 cost banners, but also the paid option that has shown up for basically all new permanent units, which is the bundle for X amount of paid lapis and giving some shards towards the character in question. Let's take a look. Now, primary job is, of course, new. Axe Knight for a sub, and it looks like Spellblade for her third. It's an interesting combination that we'll talk about in a second, but let's get into her abilities. Taking a look at them, they all are physical-based type attacks, which is what I would essentially expect. For this character, I mean, magic would have potentially been a dangerous combination in that Thunder and Wind has some dual elemental magic support that might be just generally too strong with another character that we'll talk about in a second, of course. But yeah, let's take a look at this unit, starting with the Limit Burst. The Limit Burst, fairly high range, and an AoE Limit Burst too, is an interesting combination. This is a CT have her, in the sense that, yeah, it's essentially having the units that get hit by this, they are losing half of their CT. He is also gaining a small amount of CT, so it's a little bit of a CT modifier. An interesting, potentially different way from the deluge of haste that everybody likes to use. Of course, haste is very, very reliable, and speed is king in this game. But having your speed halved is an interesting thing, which, some more newer units are actually immune to CT changes. I think that this is quite an interesting limit burst. It doesn't seem overly powerful. It is, it does have an effect as well that is powering up physical attacks for Ramada, which is pretty strong. But Ramada seems to be a generally, like, maybe have your CT of your opponents deal a lot of damage, and then potentially that CT have lets other units get boosted in there, and you can potentially get multiple turns without needing haste or slow or some other trickery just using this. And given that there is a fair amount of, haste removal, haste punishment, yeah, this is something quite different. I don't know if I like it quite yet because it is just still too fresh to really, really evaluate it. I mean, we'll come back and talk about this a little bit more in a second. And I actually just erased my notes off here, so let's get them back. All right, second ability is also a AoE attack. It is a large plus, has a shorter range than her limit burst, which is quite interesting. It could mean that essentially it's a step-based program that her kit is effectively working on, where she is guaranteed a lot of the time to use her limit burst because it has the longest range. Then you get into supplementary attacks afterwards that are essentially good follow-ups. And this is one of those. Destroys a barrier that reduces physical damage, greatly reduces reaction activation rate on targets for 3 turns, then deals large damage and applies an effect that reduces physical damage for 3 turns, has a chance of inflicting, wait for it, big C word, curse. That's right. So Ramada, kind of an interesting unit that I would not have expected her to be a curse activating unit. This is the 4th, I want to say, unit. I'm counting, of course, Sephiroth, Adea, because Adea essentially is looking like she will have curse. That made sense. Ice Veritas also has the curse status effect. And now Ramada has curse. So Fina's stocks are actually rising quite nicely. I think that Fina is looking to be a generally good investment as curse becomes more and more prominent in the game, which is definitely the direction that it is going right now. But I also find this interesting because on a physical unit that isn't going to be necessarily running super high faith, it doesn't seem to be overly interested in status effects, since her kit isn't, like, it has curse, but it doesn't have anything else that we know yet. I don't know if this will be a super high chance of activating. This will have to have a excuse me, a little bit of a boost, I think, to be really, really, really good. I mean, taking a look at it, Ice Veritas to me is the kind of, I think, bigger indicator of how good this unit could potentially be. Not as super high of an activation rate. Sephiroth was just so good because he could activate it. Now, of course, if Ramada's doing bundles and bundles of damage and also dealing a decent chance of curse, that's still plenty good enough. Can't hair. I think that this could be quite interesting, and it is something to watch, and we will be testing it as soon as this is out tomorrow. All right, third ability is another attack, so no support skills in her preview, which, okay. Talking about this, a karma in the title of this attack, the wider the target's protect attack range, the more damage after removing the effect that reduces the damage taken. If the target is in a cursed, haste, or automatic AP recovery state, damage will be greatly increased. Now, this looks really good because it can potentially deal massive damage to your opponent, providing they have some of the most common statuses in the game, or, well, yeah, actually, that's pretty much true. I didn't quantify that with a negative status marker, but also a positive status marker. Almost every unit runs haste nowadays, and almost every single unit also has automatic AP recovery, or some of the most popular units out there do. And not only that, but the curse status effect, which is on this unit, but also if you consider the fact that Fire and Thunder has potentially good synergy there, then Sephiroth also could make a good curse team potentially with this unit, making up for Sephiroth not potentially having the best DPS. That two character combo could just be enough, and Sephiroth is a character that a lot of people have invested in, so this might be another unit that has come far enough in the future that people have had time to recover their resources, and she's a generally popular, well-liked unit too. So there's a very good chance that this unit will also be considerably quite strong, given the way that this year, this second half of the year has been going. I would expect that this unit to be quite strong, but also this raises a little bit of questions because, as you can see, this is one of the smallest, closest needed to target attacks that she has. Over here we have some actual range, we have some AoEs. This is an AoE, but you are just needing to be absolutely right up close to your opponent, which does merit that she is going to need some high form of survivability, which is not present in these notes. And it does make me a little bit worried. I mean, I don't expect this unit to be like a trash unit, be an underthought unit. It could happen, but I don't think it to be the case, as they would be, for lack of a better word, crucified for screwing up Ramada after people have been waiting so long for this unit, and it's ones that they've been talking about for and showing off in the artwork for a while. So I mean, I just have high expectations that this unit will be incredibly good. The preview paints the picture of someone who is just pure DPS and potentially punishing in different ways that are hard to protect against everything. I also think that her subjobs are quite interesting. Axe Knight as well as Spellblade. Spellblade might be generally just a good one, and you're seeing spear-based attacks can be quite nasty and high damage DLE. So yeah, there's a lot of promise, I think, behind this unit for a mass number of reasons, least of which is the fact that this is just a super popular character, but this should be the next gen character for the Thunder element in terms of a DPS. Yes, I'm not counting Lucielle in this because she's more of a stall unit, not so much a DPS. I think this is what this represents. Now, continuing down, also talk about this. Magic damage reduction by 10, debuff resistance by 15, AP gain by 30%. All quite interesting. Potentially powers her up, makes her very reliable to get ready to deal a bunch of sequentially powerful attacks. Debuff weakening, maybe protecting her against her getting weakened in some state. But also this 10% magic reduction does kind of indicate maybe a little bit more that she might be a Shrecken answer. So let's really quickly talk about that. Shrecken has more than taken over the JP meta and is basically in the top teams and is kind of a little annoyingly just everywhere right now. Bonus unit be damned. I think that she is just an incredibly powerful unit, and it's curious to see whether Ramada will be a direct attempted answer to that. Looking at her, she is trying to get rid of everything that would stop her from dealing the most amount of damage possible, but whether or not she's, specifically great against anti-physical or anti-magical seems to be more of an anti-magic character, but we kind of need to see the rest of the kit. So this is one that, while I am super happy to see this character finally getting her redesign and a one that is going to be very, very powerful, I'm sure, I'm hesitant to get too excited because I think she has a lot to prove right now, of just how strong other characters are, and her matching that and finding good synergies with other units has yet to be seen. But yeah, we won't have to wait long to start testing and find out. She does have her own equipment, and she will have her own training missions, everything that you would generally expect from a new 100 cost unit that has been coming out this year. So not too much terribly to say there. But yeah, maybe I do want to talk a little bit more about reevaluating some of the other units that have come out more recently, but this video has gone on long enough. So let me know, Ramada, what do you think? Excited or not? Anticipating a powerful unit? I think she will be. Take care. See you later.